Hello everyone, Producer Brian here, doing a quick welcome and intro to this week's episode. Welcome to our first On Location podcast. This week we were out with the guest from this season's episode 4, Porsche Carrera Cup driver Matty Graham. He's in town this Labor Day weekend to race in the Sports Car Together Fest by Porsche. So Asking Anything host Angel Leon and I went out to the track to say hello, wish him luck, and watch some practice laps. While we were there, Matty was gracious enough to sit down and have a quick chat with us, so we hope you enjoy it.
Go.
Well, hello everybody. We have Matty Graham with us once again, and Matty's back because we're here in Indiana. We're at IMS. We're here on the first day of the Porsche Sports Car Together Fest. Matty, it's great to have you with us once again. Tell us about your trip to America. How was that? How are you feeling right now?
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy because obviously I was talking to you guys a couple of weeks back, and it's just mad that it's all came together. We're all here. We're at the track. And yeah, it's not quite hit me yet, I don't think. I've not been in the car. I think once I get in the car, I'll be like, whoa, this is real now. But yeah, it's been a really amazing trip. Like I said, I always wanted to come to America. I've been given that opportunity. I'm really excited to come over on the plane. A long trip, but I had a nice couple next to me who were actually, coincidentally, they were into drag car racing, so we had a lot to talk about all the way over. So yeah, it's just been a great experience so far. I think the icing on the cake will be when I get out on track and drive the place.
Were they on the way to Indianapolis too? Because the NHRA, National Hot Rod Association drag races are in Indianapolis this weekend.
Yeah, he mentioned that. Yeah, he mentioned that. He said because he was showing us all his cars, and then even more coincidentally, his wife loved popcorn.
Oh,
Well, you're talking to the right person. Yeah, so we had loads to talk about on the way over. It was great. So yeah, just little things like that make a trip quite nice. And like I say, so far I've been on the day off yesterday. I had a little trip around the city, walk about, just get a feel for the place, and then like I say, when we got here, walked the track. Well, I say walk. We went around on a golf buggy. I was a bit lazy, but nonetheless. But yeah, just a lot of new faces, meeting a lot of people, just trying to take it all in at the minute.
so tell us about your experience yesterday when you came into the track for the first time. How was that?
Well, I actually saw the track for the first time on the flight on the way over. I could see the track, and then I was like, wow, it's a big place, really big. But yeah, when we drove in, just seeing like the grandstand, seeing the track, especially when we were doing the track walk as such, it was just incredible. The straight, when we went on the straight, it was just like, whoa, this place is like, it's special, really special. And yeah, like I said, I just cannot wait to drive it now, really excited. I'm very sort of chill about a lot of things, don't really get, I'm quite chilled about everything, but for this I'm excited.
Well, you said you haven't gotten in the car yet. Obviously, you haven't test drove the car on the track. How do you prepare for such a thing? Because we've been with you here for the last hour or so. We've seen you about testing your sound, testing everything that you need inside the car. How do you prepare for that mentally?
I guess the first thing to do is, you hop on a simulator initially. And yeah, I mean, simulators are still worlds apart from the real thing, but they do give you the basic tools so you know where the track's going, you have a rough idea of brake points, acceleration, just your way around the track essentially. So I start with that, and then just try to familiarize myself with like the timetable where I need to be, just so I can be comfortable at the weekend and not having to rush around or panic that I'm missing anything, just so I'm very prepared, know what's happening, so nothing's or as little as surprises as possible basically. And then yeah, when we got here, just meet the team. Obviously it's a lot of new names to learn and things, so just trying to remember them and remember everyone's roles, and meet the mechanics, build a decent relationship with them, the engineers as well, because that's quite important. And also the other drivers in the team as well, because we'll be working together this weekend to push each other forward. So it's good that, if you have a good relationship with your teammate, you can always help each other throughout the weekend. So that was the next step. And then the final preparations, which I'm going through today and last night, were just getting comfortable in the car. So doing my seat fit, making sure it feels as close to my car back home as possible. And then just, radio checks, a few bits and bobs, because my helmet I'm using this weekend isn't my usual helmet, so the radio is slightly different. So just getting comfortable with everything in the car, and just before we head out on track, really.
So So several different things from back home, I take it, here in IMS. So speaking of the team, how is that different from the one that you're used to back home?
Well, like everything in America, it's quite a lot bigger. So you've got like a lot of team personnel here, like I mentioned before, a lot of names to learn. It's been a cool experience already. Everyone's been very welcoming and friendly, which is always very nice. And we've got this nice hospitality. The setup of the team's incredible. I mean, the trucks down the bottom where we get changed are really cool. You know, stuff like where we go through the data with the engineer, just little bits like that are just quite a bit different, but in a good way. So yeah, some of it's quite similar, you know, with the format of the weekend, things like that are quite similar, but for the most part, it's a lot of new things to learn.
So how are you feeling about the race? You obviously are about to go out to test the track, do your laps here shortly. How do you feel about the race coming up?
I would say I've got mixed emotions really, because I would love to go out and find I'm quick, really fast, and like, yeah, this is going to be a mega weekend. That's obviously like, you know, the goal, but I've never raced against any of these guys before. I've got nothing to compare it against, so I know how quick I am back home, but that means nothing over here. Like I say, none of them have raced over back home, and so it's going to be extremely interesting today to see where we end up and how quick we are, because that'll kind of set the tone for qualifying in race 1 tomorrow and race 2 on Sunday. So today is really important, really crucial that, you know, I learn as much as I can, take it in, and like I say, that'll set us up for the weekend.
So how many times do you test drive today? Just the one time?
We have 2 40-minute sessions today. The first session, or mainly the first half of the session, was be getting used to the track, used to the car, the ABS in the car, which we don't have back home. That's quite a big one to get used to. And then the second half, we'll be pushing on a little bit, trying to go for a bit of a quicker time, getting a feel for the car and setup. And then the second session later today, once we've went through a lot of data with the engineer, compared myself with the other drivers, working a few bits on track, we can then do like a qualifying simulation, which is basically we go on the new tyres, do a short stint as you would in qualifying, and just again to get a feel for how the car on new tyres reacts around the track, the setup of the car, and then from there we can make little adjustments to the car to, you know, adapt it to how I want it to handle.
So you mentioned the ABS being different in the car here in America. Could you tell us about any other tidbits that are different in the vehicle itself versus the one you drive at home?
Yes, obviously the main one is the ABS. Back home we don't have that, so you've got to be very careful on the brakes back home not to lock up, otherwise you can flat spot the tyres very easily. Over here it's nice having the ABS, because it's more of like a safety net, you know, you can't really lock up and flat spot the tyres, so that's nice knowing that. But it will change the balance of the car quite a lot, because you can then ride the brake into the corner a lot more, put a bit of steering lock on, which will obviously transfer the weight to the front going into the corner. So just little things like that will be a bit of a change. I'll have to drive the car in a slightly different way to back home. Back home you brake in a straight line for the most part, get the car stopped, rotate, go. Whereas like I say, here you can really carry the brake into the corner quite a lot, or so I think anyway. I'll have to see very soon. But yeah, the other thing I would say, a big one, maybe it's not for performance, but certainly for noise, is back home we have silencers on the cars, unfortunately, so it kills the noise a little bit. So I suspect I'm going to get ringing ears after this first one, because these are straight pipes, very, very loud, as you could probably hear on the track earlier. So that's going to be a bit of a, you know, bit of a shock to me. It'll be just really loud. I mean, not so much performance-wise, but just that's something that's quite different. But yeah, other than that, everything should be fairly similar. I think the track surface will be a little bit different, the way the car will handle, like I mentioned, with the ABS, paired up with the track surface. So I'm hoping it's going to be quite similar, but yeah, I'm pretty clueless as to now because I've not drove the car, so we'll soon find out.
So that's a good thing, because I was going to ask you about that. Without having driven this car yet and being out there, if you had to choose, given the differences of the cars, which one would you choose? Obviously, you know what you drive back home, but with the differences of the car here, with the ABS and all the different technologies that are used, which one would you choose? Would you go for the silent type, or would you go for the loud?
Oh, well, you'd always want to go for the loud, wouldn't you? Just come out screaming. I do like the idea of having no ABS back home, because it just adds another challenging aspect to it. You know, it's in the races you find if you put people under pressure, you can make them lock up, force them into a mistake, that kind of thing, and that's a really good part of it. But of course, the ABS is nice just to have, just to be able to, like I mentioned before, a bit of a safety net in the race. You know, if you're potentially going to lock up, that's there to sort of catch you. So that is nice, but yeah, the straight piped exhaust is incredible. I can't wait to hear it. I don't think my ears will be too thankful for it, but yeah, that'll be cool.
Well, hopefully you're going to get good protection on your ears when you get into the car. So listen, Matty, we thank you very much for joining us again. We appreciate your time. Good luck this weekend. I know Ask Kennedy and Motion Consulting are going to be pulling for you. So, Matty, thank you very much again for being with us.
No, thank you guys. Like I said, it's all nice to meet everyone, and I hope I can get the car, you know, as fast as I can up the front with, you know, you guys look good on the car as well. The car looks good, so you know, hopefully we can all be up the front together and be celebrating come Sunday.
Do they have to do anything to the car because you're so tall? I mean, I know it's a silly question, but
These cars are actually quite good for tall drivers. What, did you not realise how tall I was?
no, I was hard to see in this one.
Yeah.
It was.
Anybody realizes how tall he is until they see him not.
Yeah, well, when I went on to pull photos or look for photos, it's like, oh no, he's quite tall.
Yeah, he's
Long and skinny.
Well, I mean, a lot of drivers seem quite short.
Yeah.
They really do.
yeah.
Yeah, no, it's actually, well, this car's okay to be fair. I've been in race cars where it's like really tight. I used to race single seaters, so they were like, I would come home with like bruises all over my body, and it was just not pleasant. But no, like I say, these cars are great for it. I've got plenty of room. Similar-ish to a road car where you just put the seats back, you can pull the steering wheel out a little bit towards you, and then you just adjust like the padding inside the seat, and then yeah, pretty comfortable. Not like an armchair or anything, but it's...
I think if it looks like that, you're doing it wrong.
And that is it for our first On Location podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. In the meantime, be sure and check out the Sports Car Together Fest on Sunday of this Labor Day weekend. And keep an eye out for the number 91 Moser Consulting Porsche driven by Matty Graham. If you have an idea for a topic, please reach out to us through our social media channels. And until next week, go Matty. So long, everybody.